The Murder Shelf Book Club contains disturbing content related to real-life crimes. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Murder Shelf Book Club podcast. I am your host, Jill. Murder Bookies, I am so excited to share that I completed some wildlife CSI training, something that I found to be incredible and just fascinating, and I couldn't wait to tell you about it. Today, I am thrilled to present special episode 125 featuring my guest, Sheryl Mac McCollum. Sheryl is an Emmy Award winner for CIS Atlanta, the director of the Cold Case Investigative Research Institute, a writer for Crime Online, and a forensics and crime scene expert for Crime Stories with Nancy Grace. She is also a CSI for Metropolitan Atlanta Police Department and the host of Zone 7 with Sheryl McCollum, a phenomenal true crime podcast. And you are not cheating on me if you are listening to Sheryl on Zone 7. Understand that. And if that isn't enough, she is the founder and director of the Wildlife CSI Academy. Sheryl graciously invited me to join her on this weekend, and I can't wait for you to hear about it. So let me welcome Sheryl McCollum to the Murder Shelf Book Club podcast.
Jill, I'm so happy to be here. I cannot wait to talk more about the incredible adventure you and I were on last weekend.
I can't stop talking about the incredible adventure that we were on. I'm running out of family. They're starting not to take my calls.
Well, me and Dr. Priya started talking to people at the grocery store, so I get it.
Sheryl, just tell people what we were doing. Go. You invited me to this weekend. It was just incredible.
Yes. So we started with a safari in Georgia, which is wild in and of itself. But we had this whole bus, Jeep, to ourselves just for experts. So all the experts got to be together, and we had the most incredible tour guide. So smart, so vivacious, so funny. She was perfect for all of us. But the Georgia Conservation Park has animals that are, Jill, how would you describe them? They look so perfect. They are well taken care of, well fed, clean.
They're living their best life.
Yes. I've been to several places. Georgia, we have red clay. A zebra's going to get a little, dusty. But these animals look like they had just come off the assembly line. They look so perfect. And just in their habitat, I don't even know how to describe it, Jill, other than just this amazing rolling hills, just full of beautiful trees and grass and landscape that I could sit and just watch for hours and hours and hours, and we did.
Absolutely. You had me at giraffe.
Absolutely.
It was amazing.
And then they had 2 little rhinos that are 4 years old. They had American bison. They had addaxes, which we got to talk about the addaxes, okay?
Oh, yeah.
I have never been so captivated by what, we were being taught. So all of a sudden there's this herd of bright white. In the beginning, I wasn't sure what they were. Jill, is that fair?
That is. They kind of looked like antelope.
They did.
Not really.
But they're so bright. And they're called addaxes. ADDAX. Y'all, there's only 30 to 90 in the wild, and we got to see 7 of them. So part of what this park does, they make sure that these animals are not going to go extinct. They are basically having a baby making party all the time on this park. And they make sure if there's a boy and a girl, they'll give them to another park to help increase the population. Then they'll have another set of babies and they give those to another park. So it's incredible to me that we got to see 7.
I had never even heard of them.
Correct. Our tour guide, Adeline, she gave us more information, more facts, more figures, more data than any tour guide I have ever seen, and did so with humor.
Humor, and she knew the name of every single animal.
Was that not the cutest thing ever?
This one's Vader, and that's Verity, and this one is Vincent.
Yep. She would say, look over there. There's Pasta and Bowtie and Shoe and Coat. She was rattling off all these adorable names, but y'all, we're not talking about 15 animals. Yeah. She knew tons as soon as she saw them. But I'll tell you, Jill, the most impressive thing for me, were that heard a zebra and she knew them apart. And y'all, she was really cute. At one point, she goes, hey, who is that? She goes, wait till he turns around. I got to look at his fanny. Because apparently the stripes on his fanny told her one versus the other, because these two look pretty similar, but I thought that was adorable.
I fell out laughing.
Mm-hmm.
Who would think that the back end of zebras were so different that you could tell them apart that way?
Most of them, she knew their faces. But these 2, she has to look at their hind end to make sure. But here we are on this Jeep. And let me just tell you her audience. It was Dr. Banerjee and her husband and their daughter. We all laughed. And then the 11-year-old was the most mature one on the whole thing. We had Dr. Dwayne Thompson, Dr. Marianne Greenfield, Lex, Dr. Pettler's daughter, me, Jill, Elaine Carroll from Woodward Academy, Lee Egan from Nancy Grace, my sister and brother-in-law. I mean, we had a solid group of people that knew their stuff, well-trained. Several of us had been to South Africa and trained. I know Lex had been on safari in South Africa.
Talk about the training in Africa a little bit, because that's what you're bringing here to the United States.
Right. So, y'all, I've been thinking about retirement. Like, what am I going to do in retirement? And so I thought, well, I've got several years to really get a solid footing on what I want to do next. And I knew it was going to be with wildlife. So I've been searching and searching and searching for training. There is no training in the United States for street level law enforcement. Now, if you're with Fish and Game or DNR, obviously you have those opportunities. But your regular police academies, your regular post credit that you can go somewhere and try to get this type of stuff, it doesn't exist. Not at the level that I wanted. So I wanted something that would prepare me to actually combat poaching, organized crime, black market, as it pertains to these unbelievable creatures. That's what I wanted to do. So the place that I found was in South Africa. So that's where I went to get training. And I took 6 additional people with me so that we came back, we would have a base of how to start combating this. Then last December, I hosted a training in the United States and brought the folks over from South Africa and included TSA and then people at a level that the folks in that room could actually do something about it. So I had a former U.S. attorney, for example. I had a former homicide detective that's very famous. I had some people that, in my opinion, just the folks in that room could get something done so that law enforcement, again, street level, could handle these cases. And Jill, I'll give you the example for your folks that you and I talked about. Your average police officer, let's say they stop somebody for running a red light, and they walk up to the car and they see a ball python and they see hissing cockroaches and they see 3 parrots. It is not going to cross their mind that these animals are being trafficked. You're going to have probably 1 or 2 reactions. You're going to have somebody that's kind of afraid and says, you what, you go and have a good day. And then you may have an officer that says, hey, this is really cool. Are these your pets? And the person's going to say yes. And that's going to be the end of it.
Yes.
But after coming to our training, they would know some things to ask, some things to look for, to try to see, is this in fact an animal that's being trafficked or stolen or going to be sold on the black market?
Yeah, it's amazing to me there isn't something like that, but it's necessary, so you're creating it.
That's right. And with the help of you and several other really incredible people, we have started something because people are good and kind and want to do it. Because I want people to understand this is a nonprofit and we just started it. We have no money, but that has not stopped anybody from telling us no. People have donated their time, their expertise, their resources, their land. Yes, y'all come. Yes, you can use this facility or that facility. So the very first training, my chief of police let me use our courtroom. So it didn't cost us anything to rent a room. Everybody volunteered their time, TSA, all the way down to the folks in South Africa. This past weekend, Dr. Laura Pettler allows the Wildlife CSI Academy to train at her farm. And that is critical because on her farm, she has a classroom. And she has animals that are working farm animals and sworn horses from the coroner's office. So we have working animals that's part of the animals that can be harmed. Then we have a zoo in Pennsylvania called Lake Tobias that is allowing us to do law enforcement training there, which we'll have in October. So it's really unbelievable what's already started in less than a year.
I think it's phenomenal that you included me in the conservation end of it.
Of course.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, every animal lover, every person that has a voice, an understanding, as much as you fly, your eyes and ears on those airplanes, at the airport, you don't ever know what you might see or overhear. And here's the really cool thing. The traffickers that poach these animals use the same route as the people involved in human trafficking. So if we can bust up one route where people are shipping elephant tusks or rhino horn, then by proxy, we're helping an 8-year-old girl or a 15-year-old boy.
It's a circle of life. That's perfect.
Stop it, bust it up. So it's amazing to me, the goodness of people. And I'll just tell you, this weekend, we had Dr. Priya Banerjee. If you don't know that name, I guarantee you've seen her. She's been on every show you can think of. She was on Court TV this morning. She's been on Nancy Grace. She's been everywhere about every case you can imagine. She's done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of autopsies. She does case consultation. She does case review. She's a forensic pathologist. And I'll just tell you, I think she's one of the top 5 in the whole world. And Jill will tell you just how smart she is.
Yes. It was, at first I have to tell you, I was a little intimidated. She is the warmest, most caring, friendly, wonderful person. Hey, I was in a car with her for 5 hours. You get to know people in a car for 5 hours. So impressed with her.
Don't you talk bad about me, Jill. My road rage, my drinking, my smoking, my cussing.
Hey. What goes on in Atlanta stays in Atlanta.
and Monroe and Greenville.
And Monroe, yes, absolutely.
We had a ball.
Her presentation, for me, a total layman here. I followed everything she said. What a teacher.
Mm-hmm. When Jill said that Dr. Banerjee is warm and just caring, I can clear it up for y'all. At the farm, there were some puppies. And Dr. Priya picks one up, loving on it, adorable. Y'all, they bonded instantly. Jill, tell them about the training where she stood up and spoke for 4 hours.
She's speaking about autopsies. Because of this training, I can now differentiate. I, Jill, no medical training whatsoever, can look at a bruise and look at livor mortis and tell one from the other 100% without question. And while I'm learning this, Dr. Priya has this puppy curled up in her neck, cuddling this puppy during this entire presentation. And we're talking about dead bodies, autopsies, necropsies, anomalies.
Yeah.
And here she's cuddling this puppy. Well, the presentation, the topics were not as daunting. And that's not the only puppy going around.
That's right. So she made it where other people felt comfortable to go get a puppy and hold it. And those puppies were passed around the whole time. And I am telling you, without question, it's one of the most relaxed and calming trainings I've ever sat through in my life. But Dr. Priya and that puppy bonded before our very eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what happened at the end of the training?
Well, are you going to let a puppy that you've bonded with stay behind? Dr. Priya, they adopt the puppy.
Immediately. Yep. That little rascal rode right back to Atlanta with us.
That is characteristic of the whole weekend, though.
I think so, too. Because, one thing we didn't talk about, and we've got to go back a little bit, if y'all don't mind, to the safari. Lex and me and Jill were so excited about the giraffes. They're our favorite. They all really are. But a giraffe to me, y'all, just doesn't even look real. There's no other animal like it, right? Like a zebra kind of looks like a horse, A buffalo looks like a bison, obviously. The antelope all look alike, right?
Right.
But that giraffe, just so majestic to me and regal almost, right? Well, the little rhinos, like I said, they're only 4. Well, the giraffe could reach over and nudge him and play with him. And we were like, oh my gosh, that's the cutest thing I've ever seen. But wait, was it the cutest thing we've ever seen? Because then this 4-week-old American bison starts walking over to meet their new friend. Y'all, it was like a children's book has come to life. I've never seen anything more adorable.
Well, it looked like that little one was just saying, hey,
yep.
I haven't been around very long. I can see you now. I'm going to go over and visit. Yes. Well, Mama was saying, not too far. Well, then the other baby had to go see what was going on. And the other, next thing you knew, you got that everybody is a parade for us.
It's something else, just something else. And, here the little water buffalo was playing in the mud. That's the cutest thing. Just mud all over him.
Yes.
And then the zebras come up to us.
Oh, but did you see Mama react then? She's like, not too far. Very protective Mama there.
Very protective. And then, once we got to the farm, there's a horse that's going to have a baby any minute. And that was just lovely to be able to love on her for a minute. And she came right up to Jill. It was so sweet.
Oh, between that, the puppies, the barn cats.
The barn cats. I mean, they're just, there's no words for what this weekend really was. There just isn't.
since the foundation of wildlife CSI is protecting these animals, that we were just inundated with animals.
Right.
It was absolutely perfect. It put you in the right frame of mind.
Right.
It made you realize how truly important this is. You hear about, trafficking, butterflies. You were talking about it on Zone 7.
Mm-hmm.
Insects. I mean, you kind of hear about these things occasionally, tortoises, but you don't realize the scope. I had no idea.
And just the meanness, like with the sharks, they're just going to cut their fin off and throw them back. I mean, now they can't swim. They can't survive. They're in pain. And you did that for no reason. They are one menu item. Menu item. This isn't for survival. This isn't for food. This is like some appetizer that, cost a bunch of money. It's not for the betterment of anything. It's just straight up, in my opinion, mean. And like you take the horn of a rhino or a tusk of an elephant, or you cut the paws off of a bear or a tiger. You're only doing that for some bogus trophy. And I'm going to tell you, if Hollywood could get behind poaching like they did those fur coats, this thing would be sewn up pretty quick, because you don't see a fur coat anymore.
No, it's done.
It's done.
Yeah.
And to me, anybody that walks into a law office or a doctor's office or, their real estate agent or anybody, if they've got anything that is illegal, again, I am not talking about legal hunting. I'm talking about poaching, animals that are going extinct, illegal hunting, that you've just got these elephant tusks or a sea turtle shell. You should not do business with that person.
Oh, I agree.
We should do everything we can to shut this down 360, not just the airport and the ship and the train. Shut it down from every level. And we have somebody famous that is helping us, Lana Wood, Natalie Wood's sister, who was a Bond girl herself.
Mm-hmm.
She is all about it. So she's going to be doing a campaign for us. And she is one of the biggest animal lovers I've ever met. And so was Natalie.
That is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Lana must have a huge, huge heart.
She does. She did a photo shoot in the 60s where she had a leopard. It's one of the coolest photo shoots I've ever seen. So what we want to do is try to reenact it with her now in her 80s. And the tagline is, I've loved them my whole life. I'll protect them for the rest of it.
Oh, I love that.
Yep. It's awesome.
So your next training is going to be at Lake Tobias.
Correct. In Pennsylvania. So Jenna Tobias is somebody that you and I met through CrimeCon. And we were talking, and she kind of knew about the wildlife. She had seen some things on social media. But she was talking to my husband, Walt, and she said, well, I grew up in a zoo. Well, honey, Walt couldn't wave me and you and, Lisa and all them over fast enough. And he's like, tell Sheryl what you just said. Tell her what you said. And when she said she grew up in a zoo, I'm like, okay, A, I would have never moved. I would still be there. And B, you need to partner with us because we need a training facility where law enforcement can see these animals up close and learn the tracks and learn everything about them. Everything from what their poop looks like to what their hair looks like under a microscope. And she said, we can make this happen. And honey, she has made it happen. Her family is so fantastic. So that's where the training is going to be housed in October. And we have 2 days, 2 mornings where law enforcement can come for training. And then at night, we'll have 2 whining crimes. So law enforcement is going to be able to do a safari similar to what we did, and then have classroom where we have the microscopes and the training. And we have a federal agent, former FBI, Scott Duffy that's going to do some training, and Joe Jackalone. And then we have a surprise guest. And y'all know Joe Jackalone from NYPD as sergeant over cold case. So both of them know wildlife crime, smuggling, etc. And then we have somebody come and y'all will not believe who has some information about some wildlife crime and connection to organized crime. And then we're also going to be able to have an animal encounter so people can actually hold an animal and have their picture made with it. And at the night program, of course, we'll have some wine.
And that just makes it all so tasty.
It makes it all so tasty. But I mean, I don't know if you could do anything better than a cold case, animals, and wine. I mean, what more would you want?
I can't think of anything else you can throw in there except maybe chocolate.
Well, I think that's part of it. We're going to have that's kind of part of the surprise. There's some folks that have donated some of the wine and some other little treats that I think people will be excited about.
That is amazing. I am so excited about this. I am so excited to be included in some of this.
Of course. And that's what I'm saying. The goodness of people. I mean, Jenna's family, the vineyard out there, the people donating the food. I mean, it's unbelievable. Dr. Banerjee. I mean, that was a remarkable thing. I mean, we could not afford her fee.
Oh, no.
But I mean, a hotel room and whatnot, we can swing that. But she is one of the most generous and kind-hearted people. She should be on vacation now. She's done with all the trials for the summer. She's done with all the, secondary consultations for the summer. But she made not only a trip to Atlanta to train law enforcement on autopsies and necropsies. She rode in that car with me and Jill and Walt and David and Dia all the way to North Carolina and back to do that for the law enforcement in North Carolina and the coroner's office. Remarkable.
Incredible. How can people support this more?
Well, we're a 501c3. If they want to donate money or if they want to donate something that we can auction off, or they may say, I can't come to Pennsylvania, but here's $5 to go toward educating a police officer. So anything they want to do, we would welcome it happily. If they want to send something for the horses, if they want to send something for the conservation park, we'll make sure they get it. If they want to send something to sponsor somebody training us like Dr. Banerjee, any and all would be welcome. Or if they have an expertise or some type of animal, or they are associated with a zoo or an aquarium where we can come get some training and then do a training, it's all good. We welcome all of it. So we have the Cold Case Investigative Research Institute, which is also a nonprofit, but those are cold cases where we help law enforcement solve crimes. The Wildlife CSI Academy, we train law enforcement to investigate crimes related, obviously, to wildlife.
Absolutely phenomenal. I'm so excited about this. I think it is going to take off and be something truly, truly special and unique.
Yeah, it doesn't exist anywhere. We're the first to do it. And law enforcement has been overwhelmingly just eager for it because, again, who doesn't want to go to a zoo? I mean, if your option, I want to go train at the Standard Police Academy or I want to go train at a wildlife park. Come on
Sheryl,
now.
We just had Ed the zebra.
Yes.
Tell him about Ed the zebra.
So this wonderful family obtains a zebra, and while they're trying to put it into the fence at their farm, he gets away and he runs. Well, they can't catch him. Nobody can catch him. Well, I'm calling my buddies that are in law enforcement in Murfreesboro, and I'm like, hey, y'all need any help? And they're like, we don't know what to do, which we already knew that was the answer. And they don't know really how to go about trying to even wrangling, capturing, Well, it just so happened that when we were in South Africa, there was a few things we learned. And Dr. Laura has got a buddy that's got some zebras, and she had some information. So I was able to not only talk to law enforcement and give them, we hope, was some help, but I was also able to speak to the family and give them some things that we hoped would help. Well, the first thing we told him was he's going to run south. They run south. And he's going to be by a water source, and he's probably going to be in some woods so he can stay cool. And he'll stay right around there as long as he's got a little something to eat in that water. Well, sure enough, we know that turned out to be true. He went straight south for those several days. The other thing we told him, and I asked him, the owner, I said, well, what does he eat? And they said, well, alfalfa. And I said, well, honey, put out some bait. I mean, I'm Southern, you're Southern, you know about that. Well, sure enough, that's how they ended up getting him to come out, was that alfalfa. Well, Laura's expert said something that none of us had ever heard. She said, go get a donkey, because zebra are herding animals. They'll want to herd, but instinctively, they are not afraid of a donkey. Well, see, they had canines out there. They had other horses out there. Well, he just kept running. But that donkey, he wouldn't. Now, the only problem is where they were, the donkey wouldn't have really been safe. They were kind of quasi close to a highway, but they would have had to tether the donkey somehow to get him toward the zebra. That didn't turn out to be something they could really do where he was. However, it's good information to have in your pocket if something else were to occur, that you needed it.
Right, absolutely. Because I love my research, I looked up about a month ago, I think it was in Alabama, a kangaroo got out.
Correct.
Caused several car accidents, made a huge mess. And kangaroos are illegal. You're not supposed to have them. But this is not something that's like once a year, an animal wanders away from where it's supposed to be.
You can have a zebra in Tennessee now. They didn't do anything illegal. It was literally just like if your dog got loose, or, you know what I mean? But they didn't know how to, get him secure safely without causing, more harm. But they did a great job, and they had some help with the people y'all all saw, I'm sure, with the helicopter, and got him and took him to safety. So all good. But I'll tell you, when you start looking at these crimes, and when I say, sometimes law enforcement just puts their hands up. I mean, other than sometimes taking them to some type of wildlife rescue type center, they don't know what to do with them. Well, if y'all remember that story in Florida where the man's driving down the road and he sees these two little bear cubs and they seem kind of friendly, and he gets out of his truck, and sure enough, they come right up to him like happy to see him, almost like wanting to climb on him and play. He calls a buddy of his in the sheriff's department. He comes out there and they're like, what in the world is going on? And the bears looked weird to them. They weren't the right color. They weren't like a typical black Florida bear, Turns out they were Kodiak. Well, they're from Alaska. How in the world did they get to Florida? Well, one, they didn't legally, because you're not supposed to get them out of Alaska. Well, there was a man living out there somewhere in the woods, and he was a self-proclaimed bear trainer.
Well, he didn't know that Kodiaks have to stay in a cooler climate either. Duh.
Or didn't care, and that's the issue.
Right.
And so there was another situation where a zoo had somebody cut the back fence, and a leopard just walked right out, which is what they wanted. There's stories all over the place where people go into a zoo with a backpack and steal a monkey. I mean, it happens all the time. We even had a huge heist at a bug museum.
Oh, my God.
I wrote a story on it for Crime Online. I was the only person talking about this bug heist. And everybody's like, why do you keep talking about these bugs? And I'm like, because it's not just the bugs. These same people would be trafficking whatever animal they could get their hands on. This just happens to be an 8-eyed spider. But I'm telling you, this is the underworld. This is the organized crime of it that people are missing, because these just happen to be bugs and insects. So it's not a big deal, but it had to be an inside job. I mean, I was
Yes.
real clear that it had to be.
Yeah, definitely. For the average person out there saying, I don't have a giraffe in my backyard, or I'm not finding Kodiak bears in the bushes, what about just people who are, like you said, mean, who shoot your cow, poison your dog?
You either live near a zoo, aquarium, an airport, a police horse, a police dog, a working farm. You are somewhere near an animal. If you live so far out, now we're talking bear, panthers, turtles. Like those terrapin turtles are worth $10,000 a piece. So you may not have a zebra, but you've got something that somebody would shoot, kill, traffic, poach, harm right now today. It's not just serial killers. We have every single person that was on that Jeep, except the 11-year-old, in some form or fashion, has gone after a serial killer in their career. We know animal abuse is connected. We know that with domestic violence. So it could be a parakeet, it could be a barn cat, it could be the goldfish. But to me, if you watch abuse and then you look at crimes, it's a short walk.
Yeah, it truly, truly is. Sheryl, thank you so much for coming on and for involving me in this and for telling everybody about Wildlife CSI.
Jill, you were wonderful, and it's such a great addition. You're an easy travel buddy. You were fabulous. We had a good time. People don't even know. When I started telling my buddies at the police station today all about it, they were like, well, how much wine did y'all consume? I said, not a bit, because Dr. Banerjee doesn't drink. So we didn't partake at all. We had a ball. We sang karaoke. Yes, indeed. Y'all missed that, honey, because he and Dr. Pettler busted out with some Temptations. Y'all missed it. And I just appreciate you being willing to volunteer your time and your talents, because you've got a background that a lot of people don't know. And you were able to shed light on a ton of really important things at home and afar. So I appreciate you very much.
Well, thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it.
It's true. Jill, I get asked all the time, and I want your folks to hear this. Oh, you've worked crime scene for 4 decades. How are you not burnt out? How can I burn out when there's somebody like Jill that says, I'm going to get on a plane, I'm going to fly to Atlanta, I'm going to help you, and then I'm going to drive to North Carolina and I'm going to help you, and I'll fly home from there, and I don't want nothing from you? How do you burn out? How do you burn out when Dr. Priya Banerjee says, hey, I'll fly to Atlanta, you drive me to North Carolina, I'll waive my speaker's fee, drive me back, I'll train your law enforcement in Atlanta then, and then I'll go home? How? How do I burn out when Dr. Laura Pettler says you can literally use my home? Come on now. There's no burning out. I am surrounded by heroes all the time. And I am grateful every day.
Well, thank you for that. That lifts my spirit, my heart. Thank you. Thank you for including me in that.
It's the truth. You watched it. You were part of it. And now there's a puppy that's got a new home. There's a pony that's about to be born that's going to have a new fabulous career. I mean, it's unbelievable to watch these horses wear these badges. And these horses are looking for missing people and people that have been in accidents and floods and fires. I mean, it's unbelievable to me. So we're in good company, sugar. You know, we all work. We all sometimes have sad, horrible things happen, but this is a natural balance.
Yes, it did. It balanced out. I mean, figuring out the cause of death for something isn't fun. You're looking into the cavity and organs, and they're cut away. And at the same time, I had this puppy in my arms, snuggling up against me. It was a perfect balance. It keeps you in balance.
Amen.
I said I didn't come home tired or exhausted. I came home energized.
Right on. Rejuvenated, ready to go to work, man. Yeah.
Who else can I tell about this? Well, I can tell my murder bookies. And here we are.
Love it. Love it. But I appreciate all of them too. Because let's talk it up. If y'all know somebody, if you're related to somebody, you're in love with somebody that's in law enforcement, let them know. Because we're going around. We've got other zoos and aquariums that we're talking to, but we should be near you at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you have a place you can host us, even if it's at your training center. It doesn't have to be a zoo or an aquarium. But if you've got a place and you want us to come, we will come.
Build it. We will come.
Boom. Beautiful.
All righty then. We will continue to spread the word, and we'll see what the future holds. October, Lake Tobias Wildlife Park, Halifax, Pennsylvania. October 2nd and 3rd, 2025.
So let's do it. Jill, that's perfect. Thank you. But I appreciate you.
All righty then. Take care now.
All right, baby.
Oh my gosh, I am so grateful for Sheryl coming on the podcast. I am struggling to find the right words. It was such a significant weekend doing wildlife CSI. I mean, who gets to hang out with giraffes, zebras, Sheryl McCollum, Dr. Laura Pettler, and Dr. Priya Banerjee, learning about autopsy and necropsy? I don't know if we mentioned, but a necropsy is actually an animal autopsy. And listen, this is an important part of investigation. So was the dog next door poisoned by a violent neighbor, or could it have been a stalker? Is this tied into some other crime investigation? You have no idea, but that's what we were talking about. Now, you heard Sheryl McCollum. If you are law enforcement, or you know someone in law enforcement, or if you love somebody in law enforcement who needs to attend Wildlife CSI, please let's get a ticket. If you're a nurse or an EMT, you could benefit from some training too. Tickets for the Wildlife CSI in Halifax, Pennsylvania for October 2nd and 3rd, 2025 are found on eventbrite.com. Just search for Wildlife CSI in Halifax, Pennsylvania. If you can somehow help out, if you can donate money, if you can donate space, time, expertise, then you need to connect about this. You absolutely need to do so. You can find Sheryl on Zone 7 with Sheryl McCollum, a fantastic podcast, one of my favorite. And then on Fridays, she does Roundup with Nancy Grace. I sincerely hope that you will support the partners in this endeavor to protect the animals, whether they're reptiles, mammals, birds, insects, fish, and the critically endangered, like the addaxes, with 30 to 90 left on the planet? Oh my God. Now, both the Georgia Safari Conservation Park in Madison, Georgia, and the Lake Tobias Wildlife Park in Halifax, PA, are actively working with Sheryl to train law enforcement to keep these animals safe and know what to do when they encounter them. These parks are very family friendly, so bring the kids. They will love it. And Lake Tobias has this cool self-driving safari that is only available in April and November. So start planning your trip today. Now, I have posted many of my photos from Wildlife CSI on X, Facebook, Instagram, on my Patreon, but especially on my blog at www.murdershelfbookclub.com, June 2025. Now, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. So part 2 in our latest true crime book, The Five, is coming. I diverged and I do apologize, but I had to tell you about this. So next week, not 2 weeks from now, next week, I'll be dropping episode 126, titled Women with No Voice. In this episode, we're going to continue to explore the lives of Jack the Ripper's victims. In part 1, we looked into the lives of Mary Ann Polly Nichols and Annie Chapman. Part 2 will focus on Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Kate Eddowes, along with the intensifying Ripper investigation. Now, don't forget, I'll be on Creators Row at CrimeCon 2025 from September 5th to 7th. And if you need your badge, you can save 10% with my code. One word, all lowercase letters, Murder Shelf. Zone 7 with Sheryl McCollum will also be on Creators Row, so come find us at CrimeCon in Denver. I see you as you hear me. Thank you for listening, and a special thank you to my Patreon supporters, the murder bookies who helped me select our next book. Also, I want to welcome Vicky and Jose to my Patreon. So our next book is A Dark Night in Aurora, Inside James Holmes and the Colorado Mass Shooting by Dr. William H. Reed. Difficult story, but it is important to remember what happened and to honor the victims. On July 20th, 2012, a man in dark body armor and a gas mask killed or injured 70 people at a movie theater in Aurora, Colorado. Surprisingly, he was taken into custody alive. Only one forensic psychiatrist had access to James Holmes, and this book reveals what he discovered. I will also reference Aurora, the psychiatrist who treated the movie theater killer, tells her story, by Dr. Lynn Fenton, who treated Holmes prior to the shooting. Now, there'll also be some other special episodes popping up, so be sure to subscribe so you do not miss a thing. You can contact me at jill@murdershelfbookclub.com or find me on X, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Additionally, you can join my Patreon for just $4 a month and help choose the next book I'm going to feature. Don't forget to use my code, MurderShelf, when you buy your CrimeCon Denver badge. I will see you in Denver. Written and produced by Jill, all rights reserved. Music, The Pewter Elephant by Blue Dot Sessions.